Talent. It's a word that often sparks admiration, envy, and even awe. When we look at individuals who have reached the pinnacle of success in their fields, whether they're musicians, athletes, entrepreneurs, or artists, it's easy to assume they were born with an extraordinary gift, a gift that predestined them to greatness, while the rest of us can only hope to catch a lucky break. But here's a hard truth. Talent alone is rarely, if ever, the driving force behind long-term success. It might give you a head start, but the true secret to achieving greatness isn't innate ability, it's consistency. In this video, we'll explore the often overlooked force that has propelled ordinary people into extraordinary realms: consistency. We'll break down why showing up every day, putting in the work, and persisting through challenges far outweigh the fleeting advantage of natural talent. Whether you're trying to get better at a hobby, advance in your career, improve your health, or transform your life, the principles of consistency will unlock the results you're after. Stay tuned as we dive deep into the importance of small, incremental steps and how they compound over time to create extraordinary outcomes. 1. Redefining talent. What it really means. Talent is often misunderstood. Most people think of it as something you're either born with or without, a natural ability to excel in a specific area. But is talent really all that matters? If talent were the defining factor of success, then the world's best athletes, musicians, and thinkers would have reached their peak as soon as they began. But that's not the case, is it? When we talk about talent, we're really talking about potential. Talent gives you a head start, an advantage that may make learning easier in the beginning. However, potential means very little without effort, dedication, and, most importantly, consistency. Just look at how many child prodigies or naturally gifted individuals never go on to fulfill their potential. They may be more naturally inclined toward a skill, but without the grit to keep improving, their talent stagnates. Think of talent as the soil in a garden. It provides a fertile ground, but without the constant care of watering, weeding, and nurturing, that garden won't grow. Consistency is the gardener who tends to the soil every day, turning it into something truly remarkable. This is the difference between someone who is naturally talented but inconsistent and someone who works hard and stays committed over the long term. 2. What is consistency? Let's talk about what consistency really means. Consistency isn't about being perfect. It's not about making massive strides every single day or constantly exceeding expectations. Instead, consistency is about showing up, day in and day out, regardless of how you feel, regardless of whether or not you're motivated, and regardless of the external circumstances. Consistency means you keep putting in the work even when the results aren't immediately visible. It's making a commitment to incremental progress. It's realizing that success is not one giant leap, but a series of small steps taken every single day. Consistency doesn't require brilliance. It requires persistence. And that's why it's accessible to anyone, regardless of talent. Consistency is about building habits. It's about creating a routine that you can follow even on days when you don't feel like it. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't brush your teeth only when you feel particularly excited about dental hygiene, right? You do it every day because you know the cumulative benefits outweigh any momentary discomfort or laziness. That's the mindset you need to cultivate when pursuing any long-term goal. 3. The power of consistency over time. One of the most profound aspects of consistency is how it compounds over time. You've likely heard of the compound effect in finance, where small investments grow exponentially over time. The same principle applies to skill building, personal development, and even relationships. Every small action you take builds upon the last one, and over time, those seemingly insignificant efforts create significant results. Imagine you want to learn how to play the piano. If you practice for 3 hours one day, but don't touch the instrument for the next week, you'll quickly forget what you learned, and your progress will be minimal. Now imagine you practice for just 30 minutes every single day. By the end of the year, you'll have accumulated over 180 hours of practice, and those skills will be deeply ingrained. The 30-minute-a-day person will surpass the sporadic 3-hour-a-day person every time. Why? Because consistency compounds while sporadic effort does not. This is why people who achieve great things aren't necessarily the most talented. They're the ones who consistently put in the work day after day, year after year. They understand that each small effort may not seem like much on its own, but when compounded over time, it becomes the foundation of mastery. 4. The science of consistency. Let's dig into the science behind consistency and why it's so powerful. Our brains are incredibly adaptive, and they thrive on repetition. When we consistently repeat a task, our brain creates new neural pathways that make the task easier and more automatic over time. This is called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new connections. The more you repeat an action, the stronger those neural connections become, making the task feel more natural and effortless over time. This is why people who are consistent in their efforts appear to be naturals at what they do, even if they didn't start out that way. The truth is, they've simply practiced and repeated the task so many times that their brain has become wired for it. Their consistency has transformed them into experts, whereas someone with natural talent but no consistency will eventually fall behind. Research also supports the idea that consistency plays a more significant role in success than talent alone. A study by psychologist Angela Duckworth introduced the concept of grit, which is a combination of passion and perseverance for long-term goals. Duckworth's research showed that individuals who display grit, essentially those who are consistent in pursuing their goals, are more likely to succeed than those who rely solely on talent. This leads us to an important realization. Consistency not only builds skill, but it also builds resilience. By showing up every day, even when it's hard, you train yourself to push through discomfort and adversity. This resilience is what allows you to persevere in the face of challenges, while those who rely on talent alone may falter. 5. Real-life examples of consistency versus talent. Let's look at some real-world examples of how consistency outshines talent time and time again. One of the most famous examples is basketball legend Michael Jordan. Jordan is widely considered the greatest basketball player of all time. But did you know that he wasn't always seen as the most talented? In fact, he was cut from his high school basketball team as a sophomore. That could have been the end of his basketball dreams, but instead, Jordan used that rejection as fuel. He trained relentlessly, day in and day out, to improve his skills. Jordan's work ethic was unmatched. He practiced harder than anyone, constantly honing his craft until his consistency transformed him into a superstar. Similarly, Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, wasn't born a genius. He failed over 1,000 times before successfully creating the light bulb. When asked about his failures, Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison's success didn't come from talent. It came from his willingness to consistently try, fail, and try again until he got it right. Consider also the story of J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Before she became one of the most successful authors in history, Rowling faced numerous rejections. 12 publishers turned down her manuscript before one finally agreed to publish it. Her talent as a writer is undeniable, but what made her truly successful was her ability to keep going, to keep writing, even when the odds seemed stacked against her. She didn't let rejection stop her. She stayed consistent in her efforts, and that consistency paid off in a big way. 6. How consistency builds confidence and mastery. One of the most remarkable things about consistency is how it builds confidence. When you consistently work on something, you naturally start to see improvements. These small improvements, over time, build your confidence in your abilities. You start to realize that you can do the things you once thought were impossible. Every small win reinforces the belief that you're capable of achieving bigger goals. This is where the concept of mastery comes into play. Mastery is the result of consistent effort over an extended period of time. It's not something that happens overnight, and it's certainly not something that happens by accident. Mastery is the reward for those who are willing to put in the work, day after day, year after year. As you become more consistent, you also become more disciplined. You learn to push through discomfort, boredom, and setbacks. You develop mental toughness, which is crucial for long-term success. Talent might get you started, but consistency is what keeps you going when things get tough. 7. Overcoming obstacles to consistency. Let's be honest, consistency is hard. Life gets in the way, motivation wanes, and sometimes it feels like the effort just isn't worth it. So how do you stay consistent, even when you don't feel like it? Start small. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to do too much too soon. They set big, ambitious goals and expect immediate results. When those results don't come, they get discouraged and give up. The key to consistency is starting small. Focus on making incremental progress, not dramatic changes. It's much easier to stay consistent when the task feels manageable. Track your progress. Keeping track of your efforts can be incredibly motivating. Whether it's a journal, an app, or even just a checklist, seeing your progress over time helps you stay committed. It's a reminder that even on the days when you don't feel like you're making progress, you're still moving forward. Build habits. Habits are the foundation of consistency. When you make something a habit, it becomes automatic. You don't have to rely on motivation or willpower to get it done. Start by identifying small habits that will move you toward your goal, and then work on integrating them into your daily routine. Find accountability. Having someone to hold you accountable can make all the difference. Whether it's a friend, a coach, or a community, accountability helps you stay on track. Knowing that someone else is counting on you can be a powerful motivator to keep showing up, even on the days when you don't feel like it. Embrace failure. Failure is a natural part of the process. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned, but failure is actually an opportunity to learn and grow. The key is not to let failure derail your efforts. Instead, use it as a stepping stone to get better. Consistency isn't about never failing. It's about picking yourself up and continuing after each setback. 8. The role of consistency in personal growth. Consistency doesn't just lead to external success. It's also a powerful tool for personal growth. When you're consistent in your efforts, you develop qualities like discipline, patience, and resilience. These qualities not only help you achieve your goals, but also improve your overall well-being. Discipline is the ability to stay focused on your long-term goals, even when short-term distractions are tempting. It's the ability to delay gratification in favor of achieving something greater. Consistency strengthens your discipline by reinforcing the habit of showing up no matter what. Patience is another byproduct of consistency. Success rarely comes quickly, and those who achieve greatness understand the importance of waiting for the results of their efforts to unfold. When you practice consistency, you learn to be patient with yourself and the process, trusting that the results will come if you keep putting in the work. Resilience is perhaps the most important quality consistency builds. Life is full of setbacks and challenges, and those who succeed are the ones who can bounce back from adversity. When you're consistent, you develop the resilience to keep going, even when things get tough. You learn that setbacks are temporary and that you have the power to overcome them through persistent effort. 9. Consistency in different areas of life. Let's look at how consistency plays a role in different areas of life. Health and fitness. You don't get in shape by working out once. You get in shape by exercising regularly, eating well, and taking care of your body consistently. It's the small choices you make every day that add up to a healthier lifestyle over time. Career. In the workplace, consistency means showing up on time, meeting deadlines, and continually improving your skills. Employers value employees who are reliable and can be counted on to deliver results consistently. Talent may get you hired, but consistency is what gets you promoted. Personal relationships. Strong relationships are built on consistent effort. Whether it's a friendship, a family relationship, or a romantic partnership, you have to invest time and energy into maintaining those connections. It's the small gestures of kindness, support, and communication that strengthen relationships over time. Learning and skill development. Whether you're learning a new language, mastering a musical instrument, or developing a new skill, consistency is key. You won't become an expert overnight, but if you commit to practicing regularly, you'll make steady progress. Over time, that progress compounds, and before you know it, you've achieved a level of mastery you never thought possible. 10. The long-term benefits of consistency. Consistency is a long game, and the rewards come to those who are willing to play it. In the short term, consistency may not always yield immediate results, but over time, its benefits are undeniable. Here are just a few of the long-term benefits of consistency. Improve skills, whether it's playing an instrument, excelling at a sport, or advancing in your career. The more consistent you are in practicing and honing your skills, the better you'll become. Consistent effort leads to mastery over time. Better health. Consistency in your health habits, whether it's exercise, diet, or sleep, leads to better physical and mental well-being. You may not see immediate changes, but over time, consistent healthy habits lead to a stronger, healthier body and mind. Deeper relationships. Consistency in nurturing your relationships leads to stronger bonds with the people you care about. When you consistently show up for the people in your life, you build trust, loyalty, and deeper connections. Increased confidence. When you're consistent in your efforts, you build a track record of success. This track record boosts your confidence as you begin to see the results of your hard work. Confidence is built not by talent alone, but by the steady accumulation of small wins over time. Resilience. Consistency teaches you how to persevere through challenges. When you consistently push through obstacles, you become more resilient, learning to navigate setbacks without losing sight of your goals. 11. Consistency fuels motivation and momentum. While many people wait for motivation to start working on their goals, they don't realize that motivation often follows action, not the other way around. This is a crucial concept when understanding the relationship between consistency and motivation. Consistently engaging in a task, even on days when you don't feel motivated, helps create momentum. Momentum then generates more motivation, creating a positive feedback loop that propels you toward your goals. Let's think of this in terms of physics. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. Once you start moving toward your goal, even if it's just by taking a small step, you generate energy and enthusiasm that makes it easier to keep going. Each time you complete a small task, you gain a sense of accomplishment, which fuels further motivation. This is why starting, even imperfectly, is so crucial. Consistency breeds momentum, and once you've built that momentum, it becomes harder to stop. One key example is writing. Many authors speak about how hard it is to face a blank page every day. But the most successful writers, those who publish books regularly and sustain long careers, often say the same thing. The more you write, the easier it becomes. A consistent writing habit, even if it starts with just 500 words a day, builds momentum. That small daily effort turns into a novel over time. The same applies to any skill, task, or ambition. Once you create momentum, it carries you through the tougher days when motivation is low. 12. How consistency develops discipline and self-control. Consistency is not only about mastering a skill or achieving a specific goal, it also plays a vital role in developing discipline and self-control, two characteristics that are invaluable across all areas of life. When you practice consistency, you are essentially training your brain to delay gratification, overcome distractions, and stay focused on long-term goals rather than short-term rewards. Discipline and self-control are muscles that get stronger the more you use them. By practicing consistency, you're flexing these mental muscles daily. Each time you choose to work on your goal, instead of giving in to distractions, you're reinforcing the habit of self-discipline. Over time, this becomes a reflex, something you can rely on in any aspect of your life, whether it's managing your time, controlling your diet, sticking to a fitness routine, or maintaining focus at work. One powerful tool that people use to develop discipline through consistency is the Seinfeld strategy. Named after comedian Jerry Seinfeld, this strategy involves using a calendar to mark off each day that you complete your task. Seinfeld's goal was to write jokes every single day, and he marked an X on his calendar for each day he did it. His only job then was to not break the chain, to stay consistent and build discipline by making the habit a non-negotiable part of his routine. This method is effective because it leverages visual progress and makes the act of consistency rewarding in itself. 13. The role of consistency in building resilience and overcoming setbacks. One of the often overlooked aspects of consistency is its ability to build resilience. Life is full of setbacks, challenges, and unexpected obstacles. Without consistency, it's easy to be derailed by these difficulties. However, if you're used to showing up every day and putting in the work, you build a kind of psychological armor that protects you from being knocked off course. Consistency teaches you that progress isn't always linear. Some days you may feel like you're moving backward, but staying consistent despite the setbacks helps you push through those tough periods. This is critical because success rarely comes without some form of failure or difficulty. Those who remain consistent despite their setbacks are the ones who eventually come out on top. They learn from their failures, adjust their course, and keep moving forward. Take the story of Colonel Harlan Sanders, the founder of KFC. Sanders was rejected over 1,000 times when he tried to sell his famous fried chicken recipe to restaurants. Yet he persisted and remained consistent in his efforts. His resilience, built through years of failure, eventually led him to create one of the most successful fast food chains in the world. Resilience is closely tied to the concept of grit, which, as we mentioned earlier, is the combination of passion and perseverance. Consistency is the foundation upon which grit is built. When you practice being consistent, you develop the mental toughness needed to bounce back from failures and setbacks. 14. The importance of consistency in creativity and innovation. Creativity and innovation are often seen as fields driven by sudden bursts of inspiration or moments of genius. However, in reality, creativity thrives on consistency. Many of the world's most innovative thinkers, artists, and entrepreneurs aren't necessarily more talented than the rest of us. They're simply more consistent in their creative process. Take, for example, Pablo Picasso, one of the most prolific artists in history. Picasso created over 50,000 artworks during his lifetime, a staggering number that averages out to about 2 artworks per day. While not every piece is considered a masterpiece, his consistency allowed him to develop his style, experiment with new techniques, and eventually create some of the most iconic works of art in the 20th century. Similarly, many tech entrepreneurs and innovators, like Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, didn't revolutionize industries by sitting around waiting for inspiration to strike. They showed up every day working on their ideas, improving them bit by bit, and solving problems as they arose. Consistency fosters an environment where creativity can flourish because it provides the structure needed to experiment, learn, and iterate. The more consistently you engage with your creative pursuits, the more likely you are to have breakthroughs. Creativity doesn't happen in isolation. It's a muscle that needs to be exercised regularly. The more you work at it, the more creative you become. By consistently showing up, even when you don't feel inspired, you create the conditions for innovation to happen. 15. Turning consistency into a lifestyle. At this point, it should be clear that consistency is more than just a strategy for achieving specific goals. It's a lifestyle. When you make consistency a core value in your life, it influences everything you do, from how you approach work and personal development to how you manage your relationships and health. The key to turning consistency into a lifestyle is to create systems and habits that support it. Routine. Building consistency starts with establishing a routine. Your routine should align with your long-term goals and reflect the habits you want to build. The key is to make it sustainable. Instead of trying to overhaul your life overnight, focus on incorporating small, manageable actions that you can stick to over time. For example, if you're trying to get in shape, start by committing to 10 minutes of exercise each day. Over time, you can increase the intensity or duration as your habit becomes ingrained. Accountability. Another crucial element of a consistent lifestyle is accountability. Find a system of accountability that works for you, whether it's a friend, mentor, or even a digital tool like an app or a journal. Regularly checking in with someone or tracking your progress can help keep you on track and motivated to maintain consistency. Growth mindset. Embracing a growth mindset is essential for maintaining long-term consistency. A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. It allows you to view challenges and setbacks as opportunities for growth rather than as failures. When you have a growth mindset, consistency becomes easier because you're focused on improvement rather than perfection. Rest and recovery. Consistency doesn't mean working yourself into the ground. It's about maintaining a balance that allows you to keep going over the long haul. This means recognizing the importance of rest and recovery. Just as an athlete needs time to recover between workouts, you need time to recharge mentally, physically, and emotionally. Building rest into your routine ensures that you can maintain consistency without burning out. Focus on the process. Ultimately, the key to turning consistency into a lifestyle is learning to love the process. When you focus on the process rather than the results, consistency becomes more enjoyable and sustainable. Instead of getting frustrated when you don't see immediate progress, you can appreciate the daily effort and the small wins along the way. Consistency is the ultimate superpower. In the end, consistency is the ultimate superpower that can help anyone, regardless of their starting point, achieve extraordinary results. It's not about being the most talented or the smartest. It's about showing up every day, putting in the work, and trusting the process. Talent may give you an advantage, but consistency ensures that you stay in the game long enough to win. Whether you're striving for success in your career, personal growth, relationships, or creative pursuits, consistency is the secret ingredient that will take you further than talent ever could. It builds momentum, develops discipline, fosters resilience, and fuels creativity. But perhaps most importantly, consistency transforms you. It turns you into the kind of person who is capable of achieving their wildest dreams, not because of innate talent, but because you're willing to keep going when others would quit. If you've enjoyed this video and found value in learning about the power of consistency, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who needs this message. Keep showing up for yourself. And remember, consistency beats talent every single time.